insight into this?
I think, well, to be fair, look, I've never played that many games. I don't think anyone has. Like, there's only so much insight I can have into, like, that, because it is one of the most unique settings ever. But yeah, like, there was points I'd bring up in the moment being like, this just can't be good. And it was working as well at times. But I was like, no, I refuse for this to work, because it just goes against what I believe, because I agree with you. I think when you play that many officials, you're just setting yourself up to fail. And I think ultimately it caught up with them. It just, to be honest, took a lot longer than I expected, because they were looking very good, but now they maybe hitting their lows again.
Well, finally, folks, we are ready to kick off our first map in this playoffs match. Spirit Academy versus Zero Tenacity. This, of course, being Spirit's map pick of Dust 2. So they're going to be starting off on this T side and looking to make a very aggressive long push. The first flash will come, or rather than smoke to come through. My apologies. And off the back of that, Alcrin will get a nice early pick-off, so that's going to give them the majority of the site open. They've managed to push back most of Zero Tenacity. Let's see if they do find that one Tenacity, because unfortunately they're falling like flies down to the wayside. Mokajin, top of the spear, getting so many frags here. Finally, one from Spirit will fall, but only 2 left from Zero Tenacity, and Sypho on a beautiful lurk here leaves AVN in an unwinnable situation. Okay, a little bit of damage, perhaps not a win, but a little bit done at the very least, and that will be Spirit taking that first round.
Yeah, I feel like I know how this game's going already, and I know that sounds really cynical and really bizarre to say it after one pistol round, but it's the manner of how this has happened. Alcrin's hit 2 1-taps, Mokajin's pushing up short by himself and then jumping into CT. Like, they are playing this the kind of Spirit Academy game that I think a lot of people have known to come and love, where it's very high octane. They have very little care for their opposition. And I think that's already kind of come into fruition. But something I do want to set up as we look at Dust 2 is, I think we will be seeing, regardless of this early stage, a very interesting head-to-head between Brute Monster and Alcrin on the AWP. Dust 2 is a very AWP-heavy map, and both of these AWPers have been very inconsistent in the last 6 months or so. These are always things I've said about both of the AWPers. So I think it'd be very interesting to take a look. But okay, yeah, they did jump over Brute Monster and spawn him. But I think when the AWPs come out, it's going to be a really interesting head-to-head. And I think that could help dictate where we shift our focus of the winners.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such a huge proponent of any CS game to be able to put so much pressure on those riflers and force them to have to change plans, halfway through a round. Like, oh goodness, there's an AWP here. And speaking of, so quickly into this first half, Brute Monster pulling out that glass cannon AWP and looking to do exactly what we were saying, right? Lay down that pressure. But this time around, Spirit Academy not opting for that long push. They are laying down a little bit of util to perhaps, a bit of conditioning there. But with them having not pushed up just yet, it may come across quite quickly that no, that's not going to be where their presence is here. They've been given over a lot of early space in towards mid, however. We'll see what they can accomplish with that.
Yeah, they want to hit towards B. There's a big engagement over towards short. Robo spots 2, forces them away and gets a kill. Now because of that, the acceleration prompted over towards B. 2 defenders on the bomb site, but the flashbangs are just rolling in. And who's that just run through the doors? Sypho has just run into CT while there's still a player alive on the bomb site. But Spirit Academy, a very simple round and just a really good execute with fantastic utility usage.
I mean, it's a little bit cheeky as well, because yes, there's some great util which allows them to get so much done, but that kill over towards the A catwalk was kind of egregious, because it's just him pushing. He just taking space, getting up close and personal, and winning a duel when there's no backup, no ability to trade, and maybe you're not expecting him to be just pushing so aggressively, particularly after that first molly had just come out. But take so much space that arguably didn't have any right to actually take. And as you said, when that first kill comes through, of course, that is the go button for the B site defenders. And yes, so much of that comes down to a very, very well-placed flashbang. But that was an important round for Zero Tenacity, and unfortunately it does fall to the wayside. They will have a little bit of saved weaponry, but how much realistically can they get done in this next?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of play from Robo is actually really good because the Molotov lands to push the AWPer off, and the utility he uses to set himself up allows him to isolate the duel. And he wasn't going for the kill, he was just going for space. And the kill was kind of like an extra luxury. But it is going to be the eco you mentioned, with Chofo and Brute Monster being the only two players armed. AVN's got an armor and P250, and Chofo will actually get an opening engagement, and he will actually get the opening kill. Issue is, he does get traded immediately. So it's down to a 4 versus 4, where if you're looking at the hero AK, Chofo had to get a multi-kill to make it kind of valuable, I guess.
Well, that being said, Simka was able to slip away with an AK as well after that engagement. So nice little early flash gets that first kill. So they still have a little bit of weaponry here, but they're so thinly spread across the map, which makes this far more difficult. Now, Brute's going to be holding this smoke. We'll see if he can get anything done here. We're just layering walls of smoke, followed by fantastic flashes. Does spot out one, but realistically, do you even go for this? Try and hold that angle, not going to be able to deny that plant from coming through. And I think realistically, a couple of exits here will be the big draw card. Simka walks straight into the AWP. Avian reverses into the AK. Okay, a missed AWP shot there, but realistically doesn't make too much of a difference. Not the cleanest round, but it's another round secured, and Spirit will be happy with that.
I don't know why they're going for that. That's a round that massively benefits Spirit Academy on the outset because of the removal of the AK and the AWP. Dust 2 is looking on paper like an incredibly one-sided map for Spirit Academy, and they're kind of proving that early doors. What the hell? That's a double AWP out in round 5 from Zero Tenacity, and one of them's already been killed. Cheerio. Yeah. Okay. Right.
That is a painful way to start the round off after such a heavy freaking investment. I think you're absolutely kicking yourself off the back of that one. But hey, you still have one AWP in play, so maybe there's a world.
Benefits.
It's something. Ooh, all right, nothing through the cleared smoke just yet. And again, it's Spirit Academy taking very aggressive mid presence. Zero Tenacity now spread so thin, they're going to have to leave B in full retake position. But with Spirit, oh man, Spirit Academy angling towards this A site. Okay. Brute Monster, that's the other AWP taken off the board as well in fairly quick succession. No, okay, that's a beautiful angle being held there. That means that they bring this into a position of advantage, which they haven't really had so far in this map. It's the first time that we're seeing it, but how have they allowed Cypher to thread the needle? He doesn't even check it. He's got no idea. It's a free potential plant over on the B side. 2 versus 2, and a retake on B can be so difficult, especially when they walk straight into Alkin twice in a row. They give no respect to the AWP. Maybe too much. No respect whatsoever. A 4K from Alkin is egregious, to say the least.
That was one of the wildest and wackiest rounds ever. Like, this is the moment where it all gets a bit scary, when Alcron misses the smoke mid to B, but then that actually ends up being a benefit. I don't know. That is a wild round where Zero Tenacity, they had no right in ever winning that, because it was basically a 3 versus 5, and Chofo just does fantastic to hold from sight. He does get baited in, but he does connect his shots. Ultimately, though, outside of that, it is still Spirit Academy 5-0, and Alcron, normally an AWPer, I don't think I speak too highly of him, to be honest, quite often. I'm actually very negative. Hold on a second. Nemanya's just got his first 2 kills of the game with his scout and no armor, and it's a 2 versus 2. These shots he's hitting are nuts, and I'm really confused what's just happened. He's just tagged Robo. Why is Nemanja doing this?
And what's crazy is that it's given so much space for OVN to just flank around with an MP9, which is kind of crazy. There is an expectation, though. They are watching for it, but unfortunately, Spirit Academy now find themselves in a position where they're... Oh no, they've stopped looking. They've stopped watching. There's a bit of distance here, but he's scoped in. He's turned around. Beautiful timing on that one. That could have ended terribly, but with that kill, that makes this round that seemed recoverable nigh on impossible. The bomb is still down long, though, and dare I say it, if Nemanja somehow gets this kill, this is a winnable round. But no, even though Robo is so desperately low on the HP, Nemanja cannot win that final duel, and that is a 6th round for Spirit.
Okay, so Nemanja made that one fun to watch, but ultimately it was never going to actually result in anything. Not a huge fan about how they kind of played that 2v1, besides the point. But this is a Spirit Academy side so far where Alcrim... I can actually finish my point. No Nemanja double scout headshot. I'm not gonna lie, I've been very critical of Alcrim. I think he's wildly inconsistent, and I think he goes for plays that are, in some occasions, just outright insane, but in a bad way. So far, he's just been hitting absolutely everything, and Spirit Academy are on LAN, they are playing together, and they are currently doing very well at that LAN they're competing at, with Alcrim specifically playing a lot better than he has been in the last couple months. Maybe we're seeing a bit of a resurgence from him.
That's certainly the hope, and that it isn't an elongated overperformance. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. Perhaps those bridges have been gapped. I do like this little bit of conditioning util. Again, that smoke towards long, but it's already been pushed through. So Chofo... Oh my goodness, Robo just completely unaware that somebody's going to swing there. The smoke dissipates and Nemanja will take full advantage of that. And in the chaos, they've given themselves a numbers advantage here. Now AVN playing up close. He'll be able to dodge the flash. Beautifully done. Gets that first. The AWP shot misses. And suddenly we find ourselves in a winnable scenario for Zero Tenacity. Bomb is lost. And Spirit have a monumental mountain to climb to get back into this round. Now, that will kick it off. That'll give them a little bit of room to work with, but Nemanja will instantly trade it back. Kyosuke now has to be an absolute hero. All of his fans out there watching, waiting, checking to see, can he make this 1v4 work? But it looks like unlikely, as the crossfire doesn't even need to activate. Finally, Zero Tenacity post one up.
And it was a good round from Zero Tenacity, but I feel like Spirit have certainly overcooked that a little bit. It's a very similar round to what we've observed on the first gun round, where they wanted Robo to get control towards short. They wanted him to put down utility, and then from that, they wanted to accelerate over towards B. But everything got accelerated a lot quicker because of that opening kill from Nemanja. So it's great to see that the IGL's getting into the fray a little bit more, instead of being the first to dive through the doors, and this time being tagged through the doors. So Spirit Academy on the back foot in the previous. And this is a nice change up. Brute Monster boosted on short, but this is a pretty crucial shot. No opening kill for them immediately in round 8.
And some of these rounds have been pretty close for Spirit Academy, which means that, money very quickly going to become a problem. Yeah. Alcarin maybe getting a little bit too big for his britches there, getting a little bit overconfident, and he'll lose his life for it. Brute Monster finally kind of laying claim here. Oh, doesn't spot him. That's a bit odd, but cool. Kyosuke will get one in this round and bring things back to a more even kilter. Now things can just slow down ever so slightly. They've poked and prodded a little bit. They know that there's a hole in the defensive line, and it looks like A is going to be where they opt to hit. Zero Tenacity reinforcing that B site. Yeah, it's the wrong read, unfortunately, and with a heavy numbers advantage for Spirit, leaning towards this A site, leaning towards long. Very little to contest them. The AWP is still there, but they swing it dry and Brute Monster misses. That's an unfortunate one, but he'll recover. He'll make up for it. He'll get one, and Chafo, holding down long, will be able to keep things in a very contestable position. And unfortunately, that AWP shot cannot connect. It will be, once again, a lot of damage done, but ultimately, Zero Tenacity, they found their one Tenacity.
Yeah, and a simply fantastic round from Brute Monster, because even though there was definitely signs of inconsistency, like he kind of misses that opening kill, and then he misses the first shot as they try swing him out on short, he ends up making up for it with a 3k in total, and a very pivotal one at that. It was a good setup from Zero Tenacity, but Spirit Academy, it felt like that just kind of faded into nothingness, and they just didn't really know what to do with the round because they had no utility. It was a 4 versus 4. Like, they just kind of stagnated and just decided to go too long, too short. Felt like there wasn't really a clear plan of what to do when there wasn't any utility. And just like that, Dust 2 is looking a little bit more competitive.
And speaking of no utility, of course, none in this round either, with it being almost a full eco. So I think this is just going to be a bit of a foregone conclusion. I will say the last time they faced up on this map, it was at 13-7. So Zero Tenacity did put up a bit of a fight. With the way that the half had started, it was looking like maybe they weren't going to be able to put up any fights this time around. But they have managed to keep it maybe not very close. The rounds have been reasonably close, but the score line is only just catching up to, you know, that position. So with this in the bag, they'll bring themselves up to 3. There'll be 3 rounds left in this half, and if they can pull those under their belt, they stand a really solid chance here of keeping this competitive, as Alcarin snipes with the Deagle, snipes with the AWP, doesn't really make too much of a difference, looking to at least get the plant, but not going to be allowed that mercy.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday on Dust 2, Spirit Academy 13-1 fav bet in the prior stage of ESL Challenger. They're definitely pretty good on this map. And if I'm not mistaken, that would have been 11-1 T side. So already drawing a little bit more blood, but only an eco, 6-3. It's been the, let's say, like mid rounds that have been struggling with Spirit Academy since they've started losing. Alcarin has prioritized AWP, but with no armor. And this is a lot faster up towards shore. They've never been this fast. Yeah, and I was going to say Brute Monster caught off guard. Never mind, he connects. IGL of Spirit Academy down within a moment.
And Robo's been enjoying those shenanigans as well. So for it to have been read into and just instantly shut down, very well played here from Brute Monster. And that will cause some pause from Spirit Academy as they now think to recover, how to change up the plan. And the mid-rounding here becomes very, very important. And this is where the IGL really does need to come alive. What is the plan to bring this back into a more winnable situation? Now, they've realized that the A site likely not going to be their best bet. Bomb had moved over towards B quite some time ago. I do like that AVN again is holding a closer angle. He did this a few rounds back and it worked out perfectly. A ton of util over towards mid, perhaps just to fake out that it's a bit of a split. Info starve as far as possible, but AVN will still get his. Unfortunately, only getting one there means that the B site is basically open. Now, no util to cover the doors here. Only one flash. They've got so little to work with, but Mokajin and Alcarin hitting their shots here has somehow brought this back into a contestable situation. Now, Brute Monster will shut him down. Mokajin's picked up the AWP. And what on earth do you do at this point? Yeah, no time left. All you can do is hope to hold on to the AWP, and it just cannot be done. And that felt like a doable round, but I don't know. They just had no util for that exec.
Yeah, they didn't really have any util at the start of the round anyways. Like, they used a lot of it to try and get this early short play. And it looked like Brute Monster actually just hit a gnarly quick scope. But Spirit Academy, they actually did very well to get themselves into that 2 versus 2. But yeah, ultimately, there was no utility. And Alcaran tried to peek towards the door, which had previously succeeded for him, but this time was being held for. Predominant in that last round, it was also very interesting to see the setup of Zero Tenacity, where they really anticipated a long play. They've not normally been putting much effort over towards long, but just started 3 players, and it felt like they were really anticipating a play towards A with 3 long, and then the AWPer on the bomb side. I'm really surprised Spirit Academy have just been basically allergic to long, and I do wonder in this final round, the half, not this round, but the next round, if we do actually see them play towards long.
Oof. The worst part for me is, we were lauding their util usage at the start of this half, and ever since they started, they lost a lot of rounds, or they won a lot of rounds really close, but because of that, when they finally did lose the round, they had no real economy, so they haven't really had a ton of the utility. That's disgusting, AVN. Like, how have you gone and done that and just not been punished? But yeah, so because the rounds were so close and they didn't have a ton of money, they haven't been able to show the same utility prowess that we'd seen previously, and it's really come back to bite them.
I mean, Dust 2 is a map where you have to have the util. Also, just a little point there about AVN. It's really cool. It's really good to see him when he's up against a known lower purchase, that he plays a little bit more passively on the bomb site rather than up close like he has. Big difference maker that allows for him to stay alive. So it's just good little micro from the B anchor. But again, Spirit Academy, very weak on utility. Everyone choosing to go for an AK-47. No gills in play. No one subsidizing the weaponry for util. And again, no early long play. It's kind of just the same old. But actually, yeah, it's pretty much the exact same round we've seen for quite a while.
Yeah. They love going for this mid presence. They've dropped quite a bit of their early utility. Now, they do still have a couple of smokes. They've only got 2 flashes, however. Nice good Molotov. That's a great way to clear out that angle. But what's the follow-up? So this will be Kioske taking this early space. And then what? A little bit of util to come through just to stunt them ever so slightly. Brute Monster waiting for someone to push around this corner. Catches the leg. Kioske has no opportunity. Bomb still angling towards here, but again, it's a very heavily fortified A site. Now, they're taking a lot of space in towards mid, and again, getting caught out after pushing through. Now that crossfire not going to be allowed to activate, although, yes, the trade does eventually come through. 2 versus 4 here for Spirit Academy. Last round in the half, and it's looking like it could be an evened out half. However, Alcaran trying his best to keep it as contestable as possible. One of those AWPs has now been taken off. Zero had bought into 2 of them once again. How much more can they get done here? A tap on the bomb just to draw out some attention. Alcaran continues to be a problem. Now they can safely plant. Now it's a 2 versus 2, and suddenly it's become a winnable situation.
What can you do when the AWPer just dry swings you, am I right? Kits on both players, that's not a worry. Oh, the angle changed. Mokashin did not anticipate him to jump up. No bullets in the AWP, and that will come to cost him. It got very close towards the end, but Mokashin swinging too wide cost Spirit Academy. It's joint 6-6 at the half.
And we are back. A 6-6 half, which seemed unlikely in the first 6 rounds of that first half. But somehow, Zero Tenacity, found their tenacity and brought things back to a far more even kilter. But now as things swap up, as Spirit Academy get to move on to their CT side, will that be a change-up? Will this be the moment where Spirit Academy absolutely run away with the map? Or do Zero Tenacity still stand a chance here on this T side?
Diabolical, by the way, putting Alcarin on the kit when he's 18 and 8. Like, diabolical. And anyways, Spirit Academy, they tried to do something a little bit aggressive at the start of this pistol round. They tried to initiate the contact from short, but they're being held for. And Alcarin, well, he got a 3K with the P250 in the T-side pistol round. And Nemanja, he's already picked up his first. And that's the opening kill in the second half for the Balkans.
Zero Tenacity playing a very slow game right now. Just getting that little bit of early information, a bit of poking and prodding. That's a beautiful smoke, just to really shut things off. Robo struggles a little bit, finally gets a shot connected, but he's backed up. Alcarin with the double. And, well, Nemanja has a bit of a mountain to climb here. 1 versus 3. Bomb lost, so cannot change direction. And I think that this is a little bit of a foregone conclusion. I'll be impressed if he manages to pick up one. Yeah, he does, in fact. Okay, but Sypho now very aware of his position. His head peeks out, and his head is lobbed off. And that will be Spirit taking the second pistol.
Hey, look, I said it was diabolical to put Alcarin on a kit and util being dropped. I think he kind of just showed that he doesn't need that, right? He picks up 2 pretty nice kills, but yeah, it's quite a messy round from Zero Tenacity. They get the opening kill, right? And then choose to run through a smoke, and then, like, the person who runs through first then doubles back and blocks his teammates. I don't know. That was a really weird pistol round. But that is Spirit Academy picking up both wins on the pistols. And because no bomb went down, it will just be a full eco. So we are potentially setting up a very odd game, because both teams won 6 rounds in a row in the first half. It could happen again. Yeah.
Oh, that is a cheeky MP9. All right. Lovely, Kioske. Bit of extra cash there. They'll be laughing all the way to the bank with that one. But yeah, it's an interesting force from Zero Tenacity, but it does seem to be paying off.
It's a full eco. There's 2 deagles.
Oh, right. I saw the MP9, but obviously that was picked up.
Bombs being planted. That in itself is a massive success. The fact that the bomb is planted, oh, it's not over yet. AVN's got a third with a deagle. He has no armor. Brute Monster's he just dinked Alcarin.
Oh my god!
That is disgraceful. Spirit Academy tasted their own medicine. That's a full eco.
Oh, that's outrageous. I had a moment, I saw the MP9 and didn't realize that they had picked it up later. But and the fact that this is how the round starts, that they get so much done and they allow those pistols to get so much done. And okay, a lot of that comes down to AVN, who has been pretty nasty so far tonight. Had some unreasonable shots connecting, but that's going to force Spirit Academy. Okay, they've brought in a hero rifle. I don't know how much that's going to get done, but they've given it to the right player. So perhaps, I say the right player, maybe they should have given it to Alcarin, who has been on absolute fire this evening. Okay, there you go. Kioske dinked, hands over the rifle. That is the right call. And Spirit playing this not too aggressively. I think that is the best way.
I'm just still I'm reeling by the fact that Alcarin got double Glock dinked. Right, this really changes the narrative of everything. Brute Monster on the AWP early on is a scary factor, because he's been really consistent. 12 to 9, it doesn't really, I think, show his real impact. He's been just plodding along on a very consistent basis, getting opening kills, getting high impact kills to shut down rounds on that C side. And Algren, you know what, he's just been winning the rounds straight out, right?
Ooh.
But this time, Nemanja apparently has his number. This is going to be Zero Tenacity taking the lead in, not a surprising manner. I feel like this was the round where kind of assumed that they would take the lead, but it's just more so the fact that Spirit Academy won the pistol. They're up against an eco. It was supposed to be 8-6, and instead now it's 8-7 for Z10, and Spirit Academy are going to be on a full eco, bar the 2 Deagles, A1S, and 2 armors being saved as of now.
As of now, that's a very important caveat. I'm not convinced that Zero Tenacity try to hunt it, though. I think that they're making the right call here. They're holding for in case Spirit get cheeky. But rather than actually actively hunt it down and risk losing weapons that they really don't want to, they're rather going to ensure that they get through with all 5 guns intact. And they'll be happy with ending that or finally taking a lead here. It's been a fair few rounds that it's taken them to actually wrestle that lead away. But they've done so, and things definitely starting to look up here for this squad. And this, of course, won't be the round where Spirit bring it back, as you mentioned, right? They're not really going to be able to put in any spending into this one. So just that little bit of saved weaponry and utility from the previous to try and pull them through, see if they can get a couple of picks here, maybe get an upgraded weapon if they're lucky. But realistically, this should be Zero Tenacity hitting a 9th and very close to hitting double digits.
I mean, we've already seen a full eco win, so I feel like we've opened the floodgates to potentially more. Kaiosuke really hasn't come alive in the way that I anticipate, and it's not like they haven't been setting him up. Like, you can actively tell he is the one being set up for success, but he's not doing anything with it. And seeing how I think he's on a 1.5 rate, like 1.56 average rating at the LAN that they're currently competing at in ESL Challenger for this season. I'm pretty sure he's one of the second highest with a 1.40 rating over 26 maps, which is, that is the highest rated in the whole tournament. Feel like in moments like these, we need to be seeing a little bit more from him. It's their map pick. It's supposed to be their basically best map. And looking at this performance, I'm sitting here thinking, why wasn't Mirage picked?
I suppose very often it comes down to how you're feeling on the day, and perhaps they misjudged what they were feeling. It's not over just yet. There is still a little bit of wiggle room available. Yeah. Might see them step things up a little bit, but it certainly felt like it took a turn at approximately round 7 when everything seemed to start falling apart. Let's see if they can get something done in this round. Seems unlikely. So yeah, as mentioned, looking like Zero Tenacity will bring this up to a 9th. That would have been a great way to steal a weapon, but cut down in his prime.
RIP.
Okay. Oh, I really thought Kyosuke might actually be able to get one there, but snatched away. This is if this is another round where Zero Tenacity, yes, they walk away with 5 alive. Again, their reinvests have been almost non-existent. So they're building up a massive buffer economically that Spirit really didn't get the chance to do. A lot of those rounds in the previous half were devastatingly close. Now if Zero Tenacity lose a round, they'll still be okay. Whereas Spirit in the previous half kind of floundered a little bit. This is great from Zero Tenacity.
Yeah, once again though, really striking to me that I'm seeing just 4 A1Ss and low util, not even a consideration of an MP9 or a FAMAS. So already at the 1 minute and 40 mark, there's only 3 smokes remaining for Spirit Academy, which is basically the big issue they had in the first half, where they just always were running out of util, you know, later than this, let alone at this time. So when Zero Tenacity start to do their mid round and take the map control, there's going to be very little to actually oppose them.
Well, they've already burnt away what little utility Spirit Academy had for the most part. Now only 2 smokes left. Yeah.
Yep.
Surely you smoke this tunnel. Surely. There you go. Smoke comes through, but it's a bit too late there. Nemanja will get the first. Simka to follow it up. Now, Robo, it's all on you, but you can only get 1. And now Spirit Academy forced once again. Well, maybe not once again, but forced to save, to back away, to hold on to those 2 weapons. And it feels like it's just been a rotation of the same story over and over. And I gotta wonder, do you think it's a bit of an overconfidence thing? Like, we should be winning this, so we'll just keep buying weapons until our shots connect?
I don't know. It could be a ego thing, maybe. Sure.
Maybe.
I know. I definitely know some players like that. Not really something I want to talk about because I just have no idea. Like, it could be a number of things. Maybe just that they are that crispy, so they do want to just have the better weaponry. But that round is Zero Tenacity got so lucky because if they had gone 2 seconds later, this smoke would have landed and Kyosuke would be on car and Robo would also be on window. Instead, each and every player took a isolated 1 versus 1 because they just weren't set up. And it's not because they did anything wrong. It's just Zero Tenacity had the perfect timing. So that's them on double digits. It's the Orphan A1S saved over on a very underperforming Mokajim and an Alcarin who I don't think has got a kill since the pistol round in the second half. They're on the AWP, and this is looking like Zero Tenacity are... Okay, that's the... Okay, sure.
Amazing.
Screw. Yeah.
Get wrecked,
cheers.
Brady.
But this is Zero Tenacity looking very dangerous on their opponent's map pick, which I had them written off before it even happened.
Well, that's a big opener, but they have burned through 2 of their smokes. Of course, they had to. You know, early smokes are very important. So now they're looking to push... Well, they have pushed, rather, all the way down towards mid. Good clearing here. They've managed to get in behind Nemanja. No idea that they were there. Beautifully done. A free gun handed over. And now they have tons of map control. Alcarin, this is a great position, but unfortunately the swing is just a little bit too wide. Can't get the shot to connect. That smoke will allow him to slip away. And with sending Robo out towards long, they now know for certain that almost the entirety of this team should be towards B. And yes, now it's confirmed. Zero Tenacity can be nowhere else. Cypher now trying to take this long-range battle with the Deagle. A few shots fired through the smoke. Suppressive fire being laid down. They'll push their way through. They don't really have util to help them out. They'll get so much done. Mokajin with the team kill. How have they turned this around? Robo in a 1 versus 1 now has to somehow clutch around that shouldn't have come down to this. Choffo's trying to bait him out into the open, but turns away at just the wrong moment, and Robo will recover the round. Devastatingly close, but Spirit somehow bring it back.
Well, whoa. Okay, well, firstly, that's a round that Spirit Academy had no right in ever winning. Alcarin gets the opening kill, and it's like, sure, whatever. But somehow, it's the kills that Alcarin was able to get with a 5... Like, I don't know. He did amazing with the AWP, and it was Robo's aggression on short. But that B defense, they got a little bit over... Not aggressive, over eager. Like, Cypher was swinging just way too much. He dies without getting a kill. And then Kyosuke gets team killed by Mokajin, who also gets killed in the same spray. Mokajin is the 6th T-side player at this stage, but that was a very egregiously played stack where they just got way too over eager and we're just like, oh yeah, I can just swing because we've got so many players here. And it realistically only was won because Alcrin gets a multi-kill on the back of the bomb site with the AWP and Robo gets good timing. But apart from that, that was such a lucky round for Spirit Academy, and it saved by this AWP who's 23 and 13.
All right, there's that util usage. Kyosuke didn't know where to look. Takes damage from Nanya as far as he's concerned. Turns down in towards under and just gets shut down. And as you say, right, a peak, no backup, no one to help him out, and he will lose his life for his hubris. Now, Alcarin is the only AWP still available. They're going to try to recover it, potentially. Or perhaps just try to reinforce mid here. Meanwhile, Zero Tenacity, they've got a stack towards A and the bomb towards B. There's a lot of mind games going on here from Zero Tenacity. And it seems like Spirit Academy really just have no idea what to do at this point. You know, they've heavily reinforced this mid position. They do. But unfortunately, okay, they've got a little bit of util to potentially allow that one flash, however. And they might just need that for a retake scenario.
That's a really well-timed blockage smoke on long, but this aggression out short and middle is just very lackadaisical. On top of that, Robo gets picked through that smoke that he threw. I don't know if there was a gap or what happened, but he falls, and now a 4 versus 2. Alcrid, oh my god, that was almost a collateral, but he doesn't matter. He's just swinging and he's just peeking. 3 kills and a dink onto AVM. Mokishim, he's on 4 kills to 14 deaths. He has been having a shocking performance. Surely he can win the 1 versus 1. And with AVN on 7 HP, he just has to tap it over the line. A very, wow, what a round from Alcarin.
That was outrageous. I mean, Alcarin, you speak about, what's the word? Consistency. And sure, there were a few rounds where he wasn't really getting much done, but in a very pivotal moment, the first, the second, nothing there to follow it up. The fact that he gets a third, and it seems like there was a little bit of chain util there, which I think certainly played in his favor, but to take full advantage of that, fantastic. And now into the next round, Kyosuke will get that opener. Alcarin, a little bit too aggressive, loses his life, walks straight into a Robo up close and personal. And suddenly this round has fallen apart at the seams. This was not an eco. You might look at this, at the kill feed, and how quickly it's all fallen apart and think, oh, this must have been a pistol round. Nope. Zero Tenacity had guns, but Spirit just took the fight to them. And now Chofo, 1 versus 4. Seems like an unwinnable situation.
Yeah, but when we peek into the AWP dry, all of a sudden it looks a little bit more winnable. Hey, Mokujin got another kill. Celebration in itself. He has just been timing to hell though, because oh no, he was jump peeking long and he gets caught on a timing. What were you saying about that 1 versus 4 not being winnable? Chofo has the util down and he's actually playing this really smart. That nade could have been the end of him, and he's elevated himself. He spots the player short. All of a sudden, it's a 1 versus 1. And even though Chofo is low, Cypho's AWP cannot capitalize on that low HP the same way. And creeping up, Chofo, where's he going to look?
No.
He's checking towards ramp, but he's also checking towards short. This timing, who's it gonna favor? And Chofo spots him, and you said it was not possible, but there you go. The 1 versus 4 from Chofo to keep his team in the lead.
That's genuinely outrageous. And what I find so funny is that this is when they take a timeout. I think it's one of those moments where the entire team is probably losing their minds and they need a moment. They just need a second, because what a crazy way for that to happen. And listen, I don't believe in AWP retakes. I think if there was even the slightest possibility of changing to a rifle, or man, part of me is like, just pull out your pistol at that point, because trying to win that is so difficult. And sure, you can make the argument that he was wrapped around on. So it's not like it came to a face check and then he lost it. But I wager that you play that slightly differently if you are not so focused on the fact that you have an AWP, and that if you scope in, everything is like the entire game is given away. I think you can play that with a little bit more freedom otherwise. But it's hindsight. It's all 2020. Zero Tenacity climb their way further up the scoreboard here. Spirit Academy going in for a bit of a force here. Double scouts, MP9, the one rifle to back it up. That timing could have been devastating. Oh, they've spotted him. No ways, brother. There's no way you've allowed Chofo to get that kill and to then potentially slip away. Gets the second, not slipping away for anything. No fear of consequence. And Zero Tenacity now 5 versus 3 on the precipice of map point.
What a crazy map of Counter-Strike this has been. We've had 2v4s out of the wazoo. We've had 1 versus 4. Both teams have got basically a full eco win. Sure, Spirit had a saved AWP, but, you know, the sentiment remains true. This is, I don't know. This is an elimination game, by the way, in ESL Challenger League Season 49 Europe's playoffs. This is the second round of the lower bracket. And both of these academy teams, Na'Vi Junior and Spirit Academy, who you'd anticipate to be making a pretty far run, currently are both on the back foot as Rush B just destroyed Na'Vi Junior 13-6, only hours after Na'Vi Junior just won their second tournament in recent days. And Spirit Academy land finals tomorrow, and yet losing to a team that many would see as beneath them. But they're not out just yet. They are very close to, because their economy's in tatters.
This is great from Zero Tenacity. Again, you know, we were talking about the history where they've played up against Spirit Academy before.
Oh,
there's no way you
GG.
started the round with that kill and onto Alcarin of all people. And it certainly feels like there's not much more that can be done here. Forcing in that previous round means that they didn't really have any money into this one. And okay, that makes sense. Alcarin just kind of walked straight into the opening here, the double doors, and was punished for it. They have recovered his MP9. And now everything from here is going to have to be perfect. It's going to have to be... like, they cannot afford to make a single misstep, because looking at Zero Tenacity's economy, even if Spirit Academy win this round, Zero Tenacity will still be okay into the next. And so this is a very much uphill Herculean task to try to bring things back on their own map pick. Now looking to reinforce short here. There's been a lot of presence here in previous rounds, so perhaps they'll be able to catch one of these players off guard. Oh, they'd installed Robo, but now Robo backs away, and taking this fight at such a far distance with an MP9 is going to be a struggle, as the util postures to push through. There it is, that first Molotov to give away the game ever so slightly. HE through the smoke, and that will allow Robo so much information. Gets that first kill. Now 4 versus 4, but unfortunately he will eventually lose his life. And perhaps this is where Zero Tenacity prove that they are in fact inevitable. With only 2 players left, they're both funneling in through this under position, through the CT spawn. The bomb has already been planted. And with HP slowly whittling away, it will take near a miracle. This will not be the 1v4 scenario we saw earlier. This will be Nemanja finishing it out with a beautiful spray down, a 2K to end it all, and Zero Tenacity win on Spirit's map pick, 13-9.
I simply have no idea. 4, 3, 2. Yeah. Oh, I could have just checked the tab. But yeah, those were between 3 different rounds. Those were kills that won the round, but there was a big lack of consistency. And for Spirit Academy, look, they've already played official today. It's been a very busy week for them. They're at LAN. They've got a lot going on, but they're going to have to really buckle up, and Kiyosuke especially has got to really step up coming on to their opponent's map pick.
What's interesting is I just noticed that Spirit Academy are currently on an 8-match win streak, so it'd be a really rough way for that streak to end. And it's looking like Zero Tenacity certainly want to make that happen here on their map pick. They've already plowed through 4 of the Spirit defensive line. Bomb's going to get planted. Mokjin, last one left alive. A little bit of damage, mayhaps. But I think that this probably will be a Zero Tenacity round, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this map is going to look like. I think that there are some potential question marks here. We'll talk about how they, we spoke about the AWPers being a little inconsistent, but it feels like Zero Tenacity as a team have certainly been inconsistent. So to see them kind of coming back into a stronger form, always a good thing to see. And it does leave some question marks for Spirit. And, you mentioned that they're going to be playing on LAN tomorrow. What kind of an effect might this have on them?
Well, it just depends what their priorities are, because even if they do get the ESL Pro League spot, they can't play anyways. So, same with Navi Jr. Like, I actually just got to put stuff into perspective sometimes for teams like this. Like, winning a regional LAN would be way more important than ESL Challenger realistically, because it actually does something for them winning that LAN.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Spirit Academy, they played today against Gun 5 at the semi-finals of the Bet Boom LAN to LAN 2. It's a ranked event, so it's very important to get wins. As everyone knows, VRS on LAN is Gold Dust, Dust 2, and Nuke were played in the veto. Similar here, Spirit picked Dust 2, 113-4. Guns picked Nuke, 113-8. And Spirit Academy they actually started... Oh, no, sorry. Reverse. Spirit Academy picked into Nuke and didn't have a great time in it. So that was them starting on the T side. So we're just going to see how maybe they're going to be different starting on the CT side. But yeah, I think... I didn't really take into account maybe how difficult it would have been going from playing a game on LAN to then playing like straight away online, and it's been a very busy time for them. Like, they played a lot of games in quick succession, but I just really wasn't expecting that complete, like, kind of everything fell apart on Dust 2. So that's why I don't know if I have the highest of hopes on Nuke.
Yeah, I think what really kind of drives that home is the fact that they had 6 consecutive rounds, and then it felt like they just could do no right. They really struggled to get anything done once they hit that wall. So hopefully as we head into this next one, you can see some changes there. Obviously, util was one of our big talking points on Dust 2. We'll see if that continues to be a problem here. They're going to be allowed to keep that weapon? No, definitely not.
I would say no.
Yeah, it's not happening. Would have been nice, but no. So now, round number 3. Guns bought into. Looks like we're going to have a glass cannon AWP. Very much what we saw on Dust 2 as well, but obviously in the reverse. It was Zero Tenacity. It was Brute Monster that bought the first AWP of Dust 2 and was very quickly shown the door. So I'll be curious to see if we see something similar here in reverse. Alcarin, we mentioned it. He was the entirety of Dust 2. An absolute standout player. He's posted up into outside, so might not have too many opportunities to show up here. Nemania's kind of threaded the needle. They've just allowed him so much space. Finally, he will get traded out as Zero Tenacity start trying to make their way in on towards this A site. But the A site is so heavily locked down, and somehow Kyosuke will get a second for his troubles. And Chofo, the last one alive. There will be no 1v3 magic like we saw previously. It will be Spirit Academy taking the third.
Alcarin, that was disgraceful. Okay, so he hits a pretty nice quick scope from the rafters, and then just drops down. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever, dude, I suppose. I suppose he's still keeping up his shenanigans coming into this map. Yeah, that is his round. Those 2 kills are the round-winning kills, because if not, the A bomb site would have been swarmed. So, hey, Zero Tenacity, this is the map that you have come to play. It's Alkarin on fire, and already it's him and Kaisuke, the Wonderkind, getting aggressive in tandem outside together.
I love outside aggression, but it can be quite heavily punished if
No
you're not
flashes.
careful. Gonna make things very spicy here.
Orps left him.
I mean, this should be a spray down. Surely. Do they think to check? They don't even check, bro. Walk straight past. Okay, he does get traded, however. Galil pays off massively. Robo labored, only good for 1, and will get traded. And that's not the way you wanted that outside gamble to go. Mokujin, however, all right, bit of a redemption arc here. And Simke, after losing 2 teammates in rapid succession, will now have to somehow 1v3 this. Tons of damage done with an HE onto Mokujin. Gets a kill, has the bomb down the vent, all the way over towards this B site. 1 versus 2 here. Mokujin, a tickle would shut him down. Simka still has full HP. This is certainly a doable scenario. It would be quite the miraculous 1 versus 3, but no, the crossfire to come through. A little bit of a distraction play there, and Mokujin gets the final kill.
Gotta feel bad for Simka there, because that should have been a 1 versus 1. That HE, I honestly do not know how it hasn't killed Mokujin. I think it does 7 damage to him, and it seemingly lands on his head. But ultimately, that was a very good... Ooh, nice little movement from Sypho. But that was like a really nice early choreographed round, where then they end up just isolating every single individual. Like, even when Alkarin dry swung outside, like, that was a 50-50 gamble. Both Orpas dry swinging into each other, and Spirit Academy just a very weird outside presence mid-round where no one tries to disengage or tries to help Kiyosuke. So sure, they win the round, but I think it's more so out of the virtue that the Orp didn't have armor, so the wall bang was a one-shot kill, and there was a big lack of weaponry and utility, more so than them playing the round better.
Oh, we've brought things to an even kilter now, at least on scoreline, but Zero Tenacity are back down onto pistols, so it should be a very quick turnaround for Spirit Academy. Certainly a bit of a confidence booster for them.
What?
Clay pigeon shooting, man. Alkarin has been on a heater. That was
insane.
I don't know. I mean, we've seen him do some crazy stuff tonight. Is that really the craziest?
That is not. That is a very difficult shot to hit. That also just didn't look like it was on remotely his head, by the way. But yeah, that was crazy from Alkarin. Okay, can we just have a solo Alkarin POV for this map? Like, I've seen enough. This guy's crazy.
Well, of course, the moment you say that, bro's just gonna like turn off his monitor, you know. Because
he's on LAN. His teammate can turn it on for him.
Fair. If you want to get really literal, Brady. So that round goes more or less as expected. What does Zero Tenacity bring into that next round?
No, piss off. That's not even remotely on his head. I was looking at... No, piss off.
Brady. What are you saying just... Oh no, it wasn't you. It was somebody else that I was chatting to about how they never swear on broadcast because you have this like filter that descends upon you when the camera's on. Apparently that doesn't work for all of us.
Could have said a lot worse there.
That's fair. All right. Zero Tenacity.
What?
Okay.
And that wasn't on him?
Apparently.
Okay.
Ferrari
sure.
swing goes hard. Shot does not connect. Alkarin deleted off the server. Advantage Zero Tenacity.
Sypho's picked up the AWP, which is Sure. Okay. He's let Nemanja get past. And yeah, he's going to be caught off guard. There's no way he anticipates it. He actually does turn around. Spidey senses, as you would say, was starting to tingle, but he misses the shot anyway. Nemanja has kind of just single-handedly won this round. Now it would have to be a colossal breakdown in communication for Zero Tenacity. The Molotov has pushed Robo in front and Mokajin, but the trades are always going to be benefiting the Balkans, and now Mokajin's just stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has to fight forward, and that's fighting into 3 different players holding for him, and Kaisuke is just forced to slink off into the darkness and save as a very, very simple gun round goes in favor of the T side.
I do like that this is a little bit more back and forth. That is always the more entertaining way for these matches to go. I'm still amazed at that opening shot, and I think that a lot of this round hinges on that because so Alcarin drops, Cypher then has to recover the AWP. He's forced off the angle because if he sticks around for too long, obviously he's going to get, you know, deleted. There's a smoke that allows him to slip away, but it also allows Nemanja to slip into his line of sight. And while there is a moment of, maybe I should check for that, and he does scope in, I'm not sure if the shot didn't connect or if he just didn't pull the trigger, but unfortunately gets caught off. And so the dominoes fall, and Zero Tenacity went around that could have gone either way had Alcarin not just been deleted in the first couple of seconds.
I don't know about that one, to be honest, because, like, I feel a little bit bad for Alcarin there, because that really, you know, a very aggressive line, but it really felt like that was on him. Maybe just didn't anticipate Nemanja to be swinging that early on, and they were trying to set up potentially an aggressive play through ramp alongside Cypher. And you know what, they might actually go for something similar again, something potentially aggressive, but instead it's going to be Cypher sent early down towards Secret. And they have done this before. This could be something that Zero Tenacity read into, especially now they are taking outside. Kaisuke started down before, so is Cypher, but he's not actually choosing to aggress. Instead, it's Kaisuke picked off up early.
It's a great opener here, and with the wall of smokes that were there, to have been able to find the perfect opportunity to get that shot and get it to connect. It's a great way to kick things off. Now they need to pivot. Now they've completely opened up the outside. There is nothing to push back here. So they'll be allowed quite a bit of space down Secret. Cypher, of course, waiting for it. Molly in hand, and we'll drop that down to try and slow things down. But of course, the menu's just going to run straight through it. Blocked off by the smoke. I'm going to buy a little bit of time here. Perhaps trying to fake that it's going to be a push down towards B, but Spirit not really buying into it. Bit of pressure or presence towards long, but they get forced away. Robo, surprisingly, doesn't get that kill onto Nemanja, but it's actually Chofo that dies. Nemanja will trade him out. This elevated position from Mokajin is not checked. How does he get 2 there? Trying to follow it up with a 3rd. Not going to be able to, but his teammate is there to back him up. Now Alcarin, first to die in the previous round. Will he be last to die here, or will he clutch this round? Yes, he will. The final shot connects, and that will be Spirit Academy winning. A great recovery from them after losing that first player and bringing it into a 1 round.
Yeah, I mean, you're bang on, right? Like, this is a game and a series where seemingly Kaisuke hasn't been needed. And that was my critique of Spirit Academy, is that if you look at, well, all of their statistics from 2025, and I think I was using specifically the examples of the PGL Bucharest qualifier and the Yala Spring, the finals where it was the Kaisuke show, and if just anyone else had stepped up, it felt like it would have been a lot more successful outings for them. But here, it's everyone but Kaisuke, and that's also good to see in itself. Mokajin's got back to more kills than he had in the whole of map 1, and Alcarin's just doing Alcarin things. This time, it's a lot earlier outside into Secret.
I like that Zero Tenacity have really slowed things down here. Realizing that it's likely to be a bit of a pots and pans scenario for Spirit. Oh, but Nemanja runs straight into Killski's waiting arms. That swing doesn't really work out for him.
What a
Great
flash.
Freaking hell. Okay. That util to flush him out, but he's backed up by his teammates. Unfortunately, the rest of Spirit Academy continue to fall like flies. Only 2 of them left alive here. Surely, nope, I was about to say surely Alcarin backs out with the AWP. Not going to be allowed. Brute Monster still holding in towards outside. And Zero Tenacity best the pots and pans. 4-4, round and around we go. Where we stop, nobody knows.
I don't know, that round really just fell apart, right? And I don't know. The fact that it is looking at like a 4-4 Spirit Academy on an eco, Zero Tenacity 5-4 on the T7 nuke. A lot of throwing. It is pointing towards a 2-0 right now, as it stands going into round 9. Again, it's quite early to call, but Spirit Academy have no loss bonus as well. This is actually a awful position for them to be in, because when they were winning CT rounds, it was 2 alive, 1 alive, you know, those type of themes. So now they've got 1900 loss bonus. They have to go for a double eco. So here we see the Deagles, a FAMAS, a non-armored P250. Like, this should be 5 for Zero Tenacity, and then kind of a 6 as a certainty, which on the T side of nuke is pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, this is a great way for them to kick off this map. And even if they don't win another round in this half, they're still, you know, good. All right, so now we get into the next. And with this being an anti-eco, I mean, this should be a fairly simple affair. I'll be curious if that FAMAS can get anything, though. Hopefully,
this is a dangerous buy. Like, it's armored 5.7s, and we've seen, especially on Dust 2, what less could do.
Well, that's why I say it should be, but you never really can tell with some of the crazy pistol rounds that we've had, or eco rounds. Well, there you go, Sypho, double dinks, make it a third. Sure, I guess. Like, what do you say to that? Like, Sypho just... And then he follows it up with a 4th with an AK. I mean, if he could just get one more, it'll be an eco ace, where he started off with a pistol. It's unfair. This round should never have gone this way. Zero Tenacity certainly dropped the ball on that one.
I mean, I don't want to sit here and say I told you so. No, that is just kind of ridiculous. Like, that is insane to be saying. That's a 1 in a million type performance, and that's the 3rd time this series that we've seen a performance in a round of this sort, where it's like, okay, you know, the money is awful, the purchase is either non-existent or what we are seeing right here, and somehow it's working out. Also, Brute Monster, if he survives this, yeah, I was going to say, there was no way. Sypho takes the bullet as Alcarin shoots him in the side of the head. That's 2 AKs and an AWP save. And all of a sudden, these economical woes have been flipped on its head.
Again, it's not the first time that we've seen the economy just turn into a disaster. I will say, I was here for the Sypho ace. But, you know,
he took the bullet. He's a team player.
He did. You know, he baited himself. You know, sometimes that's what you do. I've done that many times. Usually I do that because I can't hit a shot, and I know that I'm more valuable to my teammates as bait. But sometimes you simply do it because it makes life a little bit easier. And I think that's pretty much what happens in that round. So a timeout here from Zero Tenacity. I don't think we've seen Spirit Academy take a timeout yet this evening.
They definitely have.
Have they? Okay, I certainly missed that. Maybe it might have been during replays where I just didn't spot it.
Yeah, I think we have actually seen. I might be mistaken, but I think they actually took all 3 on Dust 2. I can fact check.
Well, while you do that or not, I don't care. We'll see if we can make something out of this round for Zero Tenacity. Pots and pans once again. I do love a good Tech 9. We'll see if they can posture those up nice and close. Spirit Academy playing this very, patiently, very respectfully, knowing that they should have the advantage in this round, but opting not to get cheeky.
Ooh.
That could have been dangerous. The HE clears. This is where it could happen, but no, timing.
No, they've been heard.
They've been heard, but what I mean is there was
have they?
No one spotted through the smoke. Yeah, I mean, they're waiting.
I really don't know. I really don't know if they've... Okay, they definitely know now. Mockage has been smoked off. This is a really intricate use of utility on the pistol round. No! Oh, no. Holding hands in the smoke. And the Tech-9 gets the better. Simka holding for the lurk. Also is able to cut them off. But it's all falling apart in the blink of an eye. Turns out, yeah, Spirit Academy didn't see them. Didn't hear them going down. And Zero Tenacity, literally the next round, a taste of their own medicine. They say, you can do it on the 5-7. We'll just do it on the Tech-9s right back at you.
Good lord. And the crazy thing about that is I believe it was Mockasian. So he's walking through, bumps into AVN, starts spraying because he knows there's a player there, but he's got the wrong angle. And AVN has the right angle, and that's just how that kicks off. Just unreal. Great util usage from Zero Tenacity though. Good smokes, good sightline denial, gives them so much room to work with, and they pivot off of that beautifully. And now, because they've wrestled that round back from Spirit Academy, it's now a full-on anti-eco. And the chances of Spirit winning this round are very low. AVN gives zero cares as there's an attempt to push through the smoke there, and it's just a bloodbath, as is expected on a round like this. Zero Tenacity will bring themselves up to 6, but there is a world in which we see an evened out scoreline at the half, much like we saw on that previous map. Spirit should have a bit of a buy into that next round, and perhaps we'll have an even kilter that will certainly favor Zero Tenacity in the second half.
It's just... These games are... chaos. I almost don't know what to expect anymore, but like the fact that it's 6 in itself heading into the final round of the half on the T side for Z10, that's a big win in itself, and especially considering that they lost the pistol round, if I'm not mistaken, and they also lost the first gun round. They lost a force buy. Like, this is a really good performance from them. Oh no, they won the pistol round. My bad. Still lost the first gun round though. But yeah, like, this has been a really good T-side, and I don't know if Spirit Academy will be able to contain this.
Certainly not the best loadout imaginable, but could have been worse.
Oh my god. Wait, there's someone at...
Oh no! Oh, Kiosk loses that. I mean, we played a little bit of ring around the rosy here, as somehow Spirit Academy have taken all that space. It's a free and clear A bomb site, and it's just going to be a cleanup here. Feels like Spirit Academy have no pushback at this point.
They just had no idea what to do with the outside. This whole half, Zero Tenacity have just been controlling the outside for free. Roman, without any... just anything against them. Like, it was free real estate for Zero Tenacity. Very disappointing from Spirit Academy. And this retake is looking like nothing. Simka gets the second kill of this round. And Robo and Alcarin just funneling through ramp, funneling through to their graves. And Zero Tenacity, a very clean T-side on the first half of Nuke. They are looking to close out 2-0. They are looking to eliminate Spirit Academy. Can they succeed after the break?
not the evened out scoreline that we were expecting, but instead it's Zero Tenacity that go into the second half with a lead. They start their CT side with a 2-round lead. And Spirit Academy have some serious scavenging to do if they want to post up some rounds here and keep this map competitive, keep themselves alive here in ESL. Remember that this is the lower bracket. A loss here will knock them out, and their, you know, opportunities for Pro League dwindle away. Now already made their way down ramp. They haven't cleared Nemanja, but that's okay. It's only a single kill and a very quick trade. They are aware that there's someone here, so they'll force him away and make their way down that ramp, down towards... No. Okay. Instead, they opt to pivot away, head back towards that A site. On a pistol round like this, you can play a little bit of mind games, but the rotations for the CTs are so quick, particularly there in Vent. Already, 3 players reinforced this site. They took a little bit too long to make this decision. And with no utility to back this play, it's going to have to be a veritable stampede when it does actually kick off.
Have they taken so long that... Nope. Okay, never mind. AVN's gone to second vent. You know when it's like they take so long that they start to move elsewhere. But just because Simka's able to hold like the ramp aggression, you've got Chopper holding for them to go under heaven. This is perfect. Actually, no. Brewmonster doesn't need support. He could have just been here completely by himself, and we would have had the exact same effect. Finally, he does get killed, but the trade is just instant, and Chopper even picks up a double. A very well orchestrated pistol round for Zero Tenacity, where they don't chomp on the bit, right? They don't get over aggressive. They don't maybe get overzealous. They just sit there and go, yeah, we're actually in a really good setup, and we're just going to stick with it.
Yeah, I felt like there was a chance with Robo's like potential lurk through outside. But again, you know, taking so long, and I think part of the reason they took so long is they're trying to set him up. That's the thing, like, so they're trying to set him up and pull the attention, but because they waited so long, they gave Zero Tenacity a lot of time to figure out exactly where they wanted to post up for when that exec invariably came through. And so I mean, Robo was always going to die there. He gets one, but there was no way that he actually gets much done. So that's another pistol round that Zero Tenacity will put under their belts, and it looks like they're going to be able to follow that up with a fairly quick and easy conversion here. And Spirit Academy's opportunities are dwindling.
Yeah, this is actually the nightmare start for Spirit Academy. I think you set the stakes very clearly, right? We're in very early stages of the playoffs for the lower bracket. This is one of the kind of classic playoff structures where if you're on the upper bracket, smooth sailing. You can only need to play 2 best-of-3s to get to the grand finals if you're Sinners or Patera. But for teams that start in lower bracket, such as Spirit Academy, they not only had to win 4 best-of-3s to even make it to this stage, but then have to win 5 best-of-3s in a row to even make the grand finals. And this is the second of those 5. There's a lot of games to be played, and every game matters as well outside of the tournament structure because of VRS points. But this time, this first gun round, it's actually off to great starts because of Cypher's entry onto Simka.
We've had some good round 3 recoveries, but oh, it doesn't look like this is going to be one of them. Oh my god, man. Like, Zero Tenacity just have full control of this map from start to finish. And when you see players getting shot in the back of the head, that's when you know that the control is very much in one area. But Spirit Academy, okay, 2 versus 3 here. It feels like... No! I thought the bomb was going to get planted there, but no. The shots rain through, and Cypher with 17 HP is going to try to slip away. Gonna walk straight into Nemanja. Man, there was a world, but it's not this one. A little bit more damage? A touch more? No, just gonna try and save the rifle. That's a rough way for that round to go.
Yeah, especially considering Cypher not only gets the opening kill, but gets 3 kills in total. You feel like a performance like that is all that they need. Oh! Hold your horses. 9-5. Can they actually afford to just be saving a rifle? Cypher suggests otherwise. This reposition, it's expected though. Joffo could get caught in a timing. Nope, never mind. Switches back towards Hut in the nick of time, and that's double digits. Well, if the rifle did get saved, you could be like, at least they have a rifle in the next round. But no, as it stands, this is no bomb plant, a big denial. That spam through the smoke is everything. And yeah, this is Spirit Academy staring down the barrel of a 5-round deficit while only having Tech Nice to their name.
That round really could not have gone any worse. Kudos to Zero Tenacity for really like standing their ground and not overthinking things. I think it's been a few times where we've seen that, where they have actually had a pretty good read and opted not to overcommit to anything and put themselves in a massive deficit. Instead, they keep cool, calm, and collected. I don't know what Cypher was doing there. I suppose trying to clear that with the Tech 9, but unfortunately, once again, it's a bloodbath, bit of a firing range. The bomb has slipped down towards the B site though, so plant money, it's something. I don't think you get really anything else here. It is Alcarin, to be fair, and he's done some wonderful things in previous rounds, but not this time. Just the plant, just that extra bit of cash, as Zero Tenacity get themselves up to 11. What on earth do Spirit Academy do now?
Well, this gun round is do or die. It's the final attempt for them. Like, look, they've got the bomb down. They've got a purchase where previously we've criticized their use of economy, where they've had AKs but then no util. Here they've got all the bells and whistles. No AWP out on Alcarin, but he could have bought one up if he wanted to. It is T-side nuke, so you can't really blame him. And this is going to be a all or nothing round. Zero Tenacity have been all over Spirit Academy on nuke. It's been a pretty one-sided performance, bar Cypher getting 4 kills with a 5-7. And now Spirit Academy, the first gun round, and they're already basically lose this, and you've lost the series.
What a tight position for Spirit Academy to be in, especially when we came into this thinking that they had the advantage. We'll see now if they can somehow pivot themselves into a bit of a stay of execution. Bit of util coming through here. Not going to draw AVN out prematurely. Going to continue to hold. Oh, nasty shot there from Brute Monster. Robo is taken out of commission. Hasn't deterred them terribly much yet from this A site, however. Nemanja getting up close and personal. Kyosuke definitely not expecting that sort of aggression, and now the last 3 players all huddled together here. Surely you don't keep trying to contest outside. Just struggled so many consecutive rounds to garner any sort of control there, and no, they're just going to lay down some utility to slow things down a little bit. What do you do? You've got 20 seconds left. 3 versus 5. Surely you just try to save. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, they're providing a little bit of cover so that each player can make their way out. The only one still left there is Mokajin. Maybe going to try and catch an exit. But that's it. That's map and series point here for Zero Tenacity.
It's a rough way. You're just kind of like rolling over, right? Like, outside has been... It's insane how this nuke, the outside has been so firmly dominated by Zero Tenacity. And it's actually been a really good exhibition of their performances on nuke, because I came into this with kind of a big asterisk and quotation mark over their performance on nuke, because they have had some very good performances, but against like higher level of opponents, not so much. You know, this is one of the better teams they played on the map, and so far they are decimating them. Sure, Spirit Spirit Academy have already played a best of 3 today and maybe a little bit tired, but this is just so completely one-sided. Like, it doesn't matter. And Brute Monster, Simka, Choffo, all getting aggressive towards lobby. They want to end it right here.
And it would be a perfect way to do so. Not allow Spirit Academy a single round here in the second half. Would certainly put a dominant nail in that coffin. But Spirit, not ones to roll over and just allow that to happen. They've given themselves a numbers advantage here. And the bomb will get planted. Now Zero Tenacity. Relatively split from Brute Monster, but it would be a very quick rotation to get themselves back together. A lot of money here.
Ooh, that's
bit of a rough miss there, and well, that looks like it's going to be a save. They're not even going to go for it, and you know, fair enough, I suppose. Spirit Academy will post one round in the second half. The question becomes, can they do a bit more? Just a touch?
Just a tad. Hey, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Vitality recently. You know, UKCS on top, baby, #1. And I've seen a lot of comebacks. It's been a very common theme of the Vitality-esque performances. And on Nuke, specifically. So, for that to happen, Kiyosuke, maybe this is the worst series I've ever seen him play.
Damn.
And Alcarin's really slowed down. Mokajin has got a singular kill since like the first 6 rounds, I think. And Sypho, outside of that 4K on the 5-7, has done nothing. This Spirit Academy roster looks very done, dusted, tired, one might even say. And they are actually going to pick up the pace though. They're going to get very speedy towards ramp, and they're going to force a mass exodus down to the lower bomb site.
Perhaps this is what they needed all along. However, they've hit the brakes now, and they've given Zero Tenacity a lot of time to respond. And Choffo is going to hold very close here in the smoke. And as no one pushes through yet, as it starts to dissipate, make the right call, back away. And you can play the longer sight line. It's an odd one from Spirit Academy. They've taken all of that attention down into lowers. But again, look at Zero Tenacity not buying into it, not over-rotating. They've still got so many forces over on the A site, and that's where the bomb still is. All of this attention down towards this B site, or at least an attempt to make the attention, but the bomb has yet to make its way down. It has begun, but Zero Tenacity have slipped down and started to reinforce. A Molotov to take down Choffo, but it's still advantage Zero Tenacity, and with that shot, they'll make it even more difficult for Spirit Academy. Yet one more for Brute Monster, and it's the final kill here. Robo has to somehow come up huge, and he cannot make it happen. AVN to close it out, and somehow Zero Tenacity win this series 2-0. Not the result we expected.
I feel very silly. I can't lie. I came in